Hello, class. My name is Sean Wally. My community assessment is on York County, Maine. Maine is a coastal state that sits by the Atlantic Ocean. The state also enjoys lakes, rivers, mountains, a dense forest inland, and a good number of farming communities. The state is known for its fishing industry, especially selling lobster and clams around the world. Maine is also considered a tourist state throughout the four seasons. York County borders New Hampshire and is considered the southernmost community in the state. York County has 3 cities, 26 towns, and 9 unincorporated villages. For the most part, York County has a high quality of life and has always been considered a great safe place to raise a family and grow old. Here are some demographic statistics. Substance abuse is ranked 6 for Maine in York County. Qualitative research uses a humanistic approach that helps to understand people's beliefs, experiences, attitudes, behavior, and interactions. During a windshield survey and interviews, the researcher has the opportunity to feel as if he/she is actually involved, which helps grasp the gestalt of what is being studied. This windshield survey was done over several days. The houses in the various towns were mainly middle-class homes with well-kept, manicured yards. Many were newer homes, and the older homes were quite majestic. There were no visible trash anywhere, neither in the residential or commercial areas. York is a thriving community. The beach areas were crowded, the small restaurants and stores were crowded. There were police patrolling, but it wasn't ominous. There were mainly families everywhere. The Nubble, a lighthouse, had many tourists and people taking photos. Mount Agamenticus had people on the trails. The landscape on the coast was beautiful. York Hospital employs many citizens within the county. This is York High School and, of course, University of New England. Old Orchard Beach has an amusement park, a boardwalk, an impressive pier with souvenir shops and carnival-like food. The beach is crowded, the Ferris wheel had people on it, and music was filling the air. It is a bit of a rougher neighborhood. On the side streets were teens definitely high on something, just hanging about. Kennebunk, a charming town where the Bush compound is located, was filled with people shopping and eating outside in restaurants, facing the boats docked in the harbor. Kennebunk is west and inland, with homes having much more land. The farming towns were far less populated, with far less facilities and stores available. People living in these towns had much further to drive to civilization. There were many horses and other farm animals, which became a significant part of the rural landscape. In all the towns, the schools were all new or under construction, adding a gym or auditorium, whatnot. One of the University of New England's campuses is on the waterfront in Biddeford, a modern state-of-the-art facility. York County Community College is a smaller, older college with much more visible diversity in Saco. There were impressive recreational facilities in all of the towns and many hospital clinics, York Hospital Health Clinics, and ancillary facilities throughout southern part of the county. Southern Maine Medical Center in Biddeford services the Northern District. They are all valuable community assets. The people that I did see everywhere were predominantly white without much cultural diversity. All in all, an idyllic, safe looking environment, one that many counties wish and strive for. Although a community is made up of neighborhoods, homes, businesses, religious institutions, healthcare facilities, organizations, schools, and natural environment, which are all considered assets. But it is really the people that are the true assets. The first interview was with Scott Cogger. Although very recently retired, was the school's resource officer, the DARE officer, and local York police patrolman. To many of the youth in the community, he was a leader every teen and young adult could easily talk to. Scott's perspective was enlightening, and his insights came from years of working in the community. The health priority of greatest concern is the growing account of substance abuse. The number of motor vehicle crash fatalities due to drinking and driving. Sometimes the victims would be moms and kids or grandmothers rather than the person who was driving drunk. Sometimes everyone died. Unintentional drownings, falls, stupid accidents were drug related, and these fatalities were listed as unintentional injuries, not overdoses. Sadly, he spoke of suicides, homicides of kids he knew, some of which I knew. I have some dogs, so if they bark, my apologies. Fentanyl was a killer. The drug problem is dependent on which drugs are brought into our community. Fentanyl kills, plain and simple. The problem exists with alcohol and marijuana during high school and stronger drugs in early 20 and 30-year citizens. The schools are not addressing the drug problem, but not teaching basic life skills. Coping strategies need to be taught, plain and simple. There isn't enough services, plain and simple, and without insurance, you are not going to get help. The key problem is that the recovery rehab facilities are very expensive and most people cannot afford them. Here's some statistics you can look over. The second interview was on the phone with Judd Knox, the president and CEO of York Hospital. Initial questions were about general issues regarding healthcare in York County that were highlighted in York Hospital's 2018 Community Health Needs Assessment, particularly mental health, substance abuse, healthy aging, and food insecurity. Knox talked about, with excitement, how wonderful Governor Mills' endorsement for aid throughout Maine is to fight substance abuse. To fight the opiate epidemic, the grant from the Maine Health Access Foundation funded the Outpatient and Recovery Center. Knox shared that the new recovery center at York Hospital, the first in southern York County, provides outpatient treatment for patients with substance use disorders. The recovery center pairs MAT, medication-assisted treatment, with intensive counseling and therapy with the FDA-approved drug bupropion, a prescription medication that acts to curb cravings and lower the potential for abuse. Quantitative data. Take a second to look that over. Although the demographic data alone does not make substance abuse the leading health priority, data shows an increased frequency of overdoses, unintentional injuries, severity of substance abuse affecting young population. A gap in meaningful services available contribute to the growing mortality rate. Mental health and substance misuse has a strong correlation. Data shows an increased frequency of substance overdoses and unintentional injuries caused by substance abuse. Suicide is the second leading cause of death among 15 to 34-year-olds in Maine, and the 10th leading cause of death among all ages combined. In York County, the age-adjusted rate of suicide deaths was 17.1 per 100,000 per population, compared to 15.2 for the state over the same time period. The combined death toll from substance abuse-related unintentional fatalities and from opiate overdoses was so alarming it would be negligible for the community as a whole not to pay attention to this health crisis and the combined issues it created for the community. The MAP logic model was used as a roadmap to easily evaluate the study. MAP focuses on building community support by including all community members, thus honoring community perspectives. Knox emphasized the need for community hospitals to pay attention to the needs of the community. Successful community building depends on the participation of all of its citizens, first and foremost. Scott Cogger's viewpoints is as valuable as Judd Knox's viewpoint. Their combined viewpoints, when shared along with other community stakeholders, is an example of how shared visions are created. MAP encourages the dialogue that builds partnerships that lead to a shared vision. The combination of qualitative and quantitative data collectively illustrates their MAP usefulness in organizing their assessment and brainstorming on possible intervention strategies. The need for more counselors to work in mental health facilities. The excessive long wait list for the less expensive rehabilitation facilities has become an increasingly and alarming problem, as well as also leading to fatalities. The need for more drug prevention programs is also key, and the need for many more drug rehabilitation programs, especially in patient facilities, has been recognized by community leaders. Some of the recommendations, I'm not going to go through all of them, but I will read a few, are hiring teachers and coaches who can easily develop a rapport with students, education to reduce the social stigma of mental health and support, seeking help for depression and anxiety, more inpatient facilities for specifically different age groups, counselors, therapists should meet with teens at school, and finding alternatives for those without insurance who need treatment was a big problem, and I know something that Scott and Judd both spoke about a little bit. In conclusion, education, therapy, counseling, and MAT all help, but the true challenge is how to alter the environment and social factors contributing to this health issue. Who are the true agents of change? In York County, the socioeconomic, demographic, and cultural factors are far less relevant than lifestyle factors. The substance abuse community problem in York County is severe. It occurs too frequently and isn't going away. In fact, it keeps escalating and getting continually worse and worse. Thank you very much. I hope you enjoyed my presentation.